Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever in the world you guys are. My name is Ashley Green. This is a Successful Mentalist podcast, and as always, like every other podcast, I'm joined by the amazing
Aidan O'Sullivan.
Woo! This episode, that was a weird intro, but this episode is episode 27, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of community. And straight off the bat, I'm going to say it, community is one of the things which has elevated in my mentalism career, and without it I wouldn't be doing any of the stuff I am today. I wouldn't be doing TSM, I wouldn't be performing at my residency, heck, I might not even be performing or doing mentalism in general. The community around me has honestly helped elevate me to new heights, new everything. It's improved my business, my performance, my mindset, the lot, just from those around me. So I'm going to share some beautiful little things and some stories which have helped me in the past and which are going to immediately help you guys listening.
Well, this is it. I will ditto everything that Ashley's just said. Community learning is the most important thing that you can do, and it's easy to do. And we'll talk through some strategies and some opportunities to actually create that later on. But in the meantime, Ashley, why don't you just kick it off straight out the bat? Is there an example of a specific example of where a community-based learning approach has helped you?
Yeah, and you're probably fully aware of this, Aidan, because this is actually how we first met, and it was through a Facebook group, and it was ourselves and a couple of other performers in the UK, and we all came together and we started chatting on Facebook, and we were chatting daily. At the point, so on all things magic, mentalism, we was talking methods, performances. I was coming to you with business advice, and we was then having constant FaceTimes. So talking about mentalism to other people, it meant last week we was talking about learning, having that time to sit down and read the books, but this community meant that I was always learning through other people 24/7. And my mind was racing with ideas because I was in that zone of mentalism all the time, and I still am. I was away from the Facebook Messenger group, and I was at work, and I was like, oh my god, but this idea, because I was constantly on it, and I was constantly thinking about mentalism because it's all that was happening. You know, my friends, really good friends, were just saying, oh, this trick, this trick, this trick, this trick, this performance, and so on. And all these ideas were rushing through, and it was like, I'm constantly learning, constantly growing, and constantly evolving. You know, later we met at Blackpool and we all became really good friends, and skip a few years down the line, now we're running this as a business, TSM, which is mad. But the beautiful thing about community that I had, and this is great, firstly, the opportunities that arose from that group. I mean, I was able to speak to Banachek. I was on his podcast 3 times, Banachek's Brain. Because we had a ridiculously long chat with him. Opportunities arose to have private conversations with Yuri Geller. They're just to name a few of some of the amazing things that came up. We got free products, free mentalism books just from this community, just through other people and their network. But the main thing was just that helping hand. Whenever I was struggling on something, whenever I had a problem, whether it be with business, the mindset, the performance, the 3 things that TSM are big on, drop it in the group. I drop it in our group chat, and one of the guys, either you or one of the other ones, Aidan, would just come up and be like, yeah, do this. I can't stress enough, if you haven't already worked it out, if you can find those like-minded individuals, it just will enable you to grow massively. I mean, for example, what did you get out of this community? Because you was in the same one as me.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, I want to just make sure that people are aware. By community, we mean there was literally less than 10 of us. It does not mean that we need to start an entire revolution and have 100 people. It was literally a select group of friends. And again, to ditto everything that you've said, for me, it was that opportunity to share an idea, or we'd come up with a premise or an idea for a trick, and we'd have a couple of days, we'd spend a couple of days working on different ideas and different approaches. And it also allowed us all to sort of understand each other's niches a little bit better. And by that, that group that we're still in contact with now, they know that I'm obsessed with Witch Hand, and they know that I'm obsessed with real psychology and the uses of that within mentalism. So if they come across any of these ideas, like they see a new Witch Hand routine, or they want to learn more about a Witch Hand routine, or the same for psychology in general, they can just drop a message to the group or to me directly and just say, found this, what do you think? Found this, what are your thoughts? Here's a Witch Hand product, what do you think? And it just gives you that opportunity to get clear on what it is that you want, and in your mentalism career, and also what you're good at. And it really, that for me was fundamental, finding your strengths from this group. And that's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did.
And it's also having a group of people that aren't scared to tell you no, and to tell you when you're doing something bad. Like, you've got a performance clip, you share it with them, and they say, yeah, no, that's rubbish. But then they just go, here's the reasons why. Because also finding out what doesn't work is again another way to grow. And like having them lay out like every single thing about, and like you say, it was literally, I think, 7 people, like just being able to chat. Massive helping hand. And I am conscious that we've literally outlined like so many things on how it helped us. And I know there's some people out there who might be thinking, well, how do I start finding like-minded individuals? Like, Aidan and Ashley, what do I do to find these like-minded individuals? Or, oh, I have a group of friends, but they're not really interested in the same things as us. What would you suggest to those guys?
There's a few things. Firstly, tell them. And I know that sounds really bizarre, really daunting for a lot of people, and actually quite scary to be able to tell your friends, this is the type of friendship and this is the type of learning that I want. Here, are you committed to this? Keith Ferrazzi calls this co-elevation, and he quite extensively talks about this idea of recontracting your friendships. And that's quite simply the idea that you just be honest, get clear. Like, and co-elevation, for people who haven't heard that term before, is essentially the idea that a group of friends or a single friendship is they're committed to going higher together, committed to getting better and improving together, no matter the cost. You've got each other's back, you're positioned in the point of growth. And sometimes that just takes a simple question of, hey, if we start maybe sharing some more ideas, perhaps would you want to try and get to this next point? Or, well, we've both got similar ideas, like we both want to do these kind of things. Do you want to try and work on it together and really share best practice and really make it a big thing? And sometimes just asking that question is enough for people to appreciate your need for growth and your opportunity seeking, because they know at that point, if they say no, you're going to find somebody else. It sounds like you're putting them in an ultimatum. You are not. You're simply offering an opportunity for your friends to just get on board and go big. Because whether that's big as in like you've got massive goals, or big as in you just want to really get to where you want to be, just have those conversations. That's the step one. It's the easiest way.
Hi guys, it's Ashley here. I just want to quickly interrupt this podcast just to say one little thing. If you do enjoy the podcast that we are currently putting out at The Successful Mentalist, do us a favour and make sure to subscribe. It will honestly help us out. It will mean the world. It will help with our stats and rankings, which mean that we're then shown to more magicians and mentalists around the world. And we want to try and help as many people as possible with these podcasts. So honestly, if you could subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to us. Anyway, back to the podcast. Okay, so what happens if, again, the people listening are thinking, that's all well and great. I've gone back now, I've said to my friends this, and they've come back and said, nah, I'm not really interested. Or alternatively, they're still thinking, I still don't have that Facebook group of friends to speak to and talk about this stuff. What do I do? Like, I don't know any other magicians. What can they do?
Here we go. This is the big one. Find them. Just find them. Now, you can do this in a couple of ways, and we've got an opportunity for you right now, but one way is to literally hijack our social media. If you're on social media, find TSM, find the people that are engaging on the TSM platform, talk to them in the comments and stuff, and drop them a message and say, hey, I see that you really picked up something from episode 27. I'd love to chat about that. Just drop people a message on our platform. Basically what I'm saying is use us to your advantage. Use our platform. We've created an opportunity for like-minded individuals to all come together on a platform designated for learning across all areas: performance, business, mindset. That's TSM. We want you to use it. Now, that's going to also do two things, and I'm going to be open and honest. One, that's going to find you those connections that you want, that you need, find you and build you that community and those friendships that will help you to go higher together. But it's also going to help our social media as well. So obviously, I can't say go and comment for purely your own reasons. Commenting is going to help our mission, which in return will help your mission, because it'll make our posts get shared to more people, seen by more people. That'll help us beat the algorithms. And as a result, more people will come onto the TSM platform, which means that's more people for you to connect with. Sometimes you'll even find people on the platform that are local to you and you didn't even know they existed.
Again, classic example of this. We were speaking about the All About the Tricks lectures, and Aidan went, oh, I know that guy. He lives down the road from me.
Literally.
Just out of the blue.
This is crazy. But if you're still not comfortable doing that just yet, opportunity. If you are on Instagram, drop us a message. We're obviously The Successful Mentalist on Instagram. You can find us. Drop us a message and say, hey guys, I listened to episode 27. I'd really love to try and find some people to connect with and co-elevate with. What we're going to do is we're going to put together and start making these connections. So we're going to get a couple of these messages and we're going to create a little group for you guys, and or put you in touch and just let you know that these guys are looking for similar things. And that way you can just start by having a complete open conversation with people that are all asking for the same thing. So just to be completely clear, if you want us to build these communities for you, drop us a message at The Successful Mentalist on Instagram. We'll set you up with these connections already.
It's as easy as that. If we can help you, then that's our job done at TSM, because that's what we're all about. And the other thing as well, like, community is not just for magic and mentalism, is it? Like, within 10 minutes, we've explained the huge benefits of having a community to help you grow as a performer, and everything around that, how to get that community. But this also comes down outside of magic, like when you can start building connections in a community with other people who might be interested in the same line of work you do. For example, if you can start building a community with photographers and venues, if you want to get into weddings, it's the same thing. Having chats with them, keeping up the relationships, but now you're getting work out of it instead of feedback on your mentalism routine. So the exact same thing, community, but this one gets you work in your designated area.
This is exactly it. And I'm not ashamed to admit in the slightest that 90 to 95% of my work over the past few years, or since I started performing at events and things, has come around from good relationships and this good network that I've got, and these good communities of people that have had the opportunity to slingshot my career into the direction that I need it to be. I just happened to mention at one point, I'd really love to do like a stage show and a stage performance. And a friend of mine was like, oh my God, yeah, I know the people at this venue and they'd definitely love to have you on board because they love you anyway. And that was how my first theatre show was booked. Just like that. And it was done. It was booked within 24 hours. Just because I said to a friend, oh, I'd love to do like a big stage show like Darren does. Oh, why do you do one? In fact, let's do one here. I know the person and they'd love to have you done. Those connections get made for you. And it's the same elsewhere. You mentioned to a wedding supplier, oh yeah, I'm really looking for a photographer to work with on a show or as part of my promo material and stuff. They'll be able to say, oh yeah, I know this other photographer. They do great at weddings and things. Let me put you in touch. Or at a wedding fair, oh, let me introduce you. These are the people that will become your allies. These are the people that will start to essentially sell you without selling you to the people that you need selling to. Sounds confusing, I know. But these people will become advocates of you. These friendships will become advocates of you. And in fairness, it's going to have to go the other way around. You're going to have to be advocates of them. You're going to have to look out for them. You're going to have to engage with them. You're going to have to look after them and the things that they're doing and the work that they're doing. It's just simple reciprocation. But that will open so many opportunities, so many doors to you in the world of business and the world of performance, and also just in terms of the relationships.
Again, community is important. If you haven't worked it out by now, in what we've said over the previous 26 episodes on the podcast, and now episode 27, halfway through, community is important for no matter what you do. It's a great thing to have, and it's a great tool to use, even for example, like the way I went about our first lecture, Aidan. I called upon some of the people I knew and I said, hey guys, we're doing this lecture. And I called upon the community, and they help and they gave back because they respect me and I respect them. It's easy. It's easy to do this. And I know that there are a lot of people that will listen to this, and there will be that anxiety there and thinking, oh, isn't it scary to message people out the blue? Isn't it scary to say, hey guys, and just message someone randomly on Instagram or Facebook? But that's why we're saying, if you struggle with that, like, you can message us and we can give you the in, and that way you haven't, if you're panicking about these awkward introductions, like, we can sort that, and then you can be paired up with like other people in the magic community. And the other thing I want to say is, I would love to hear your stories. Like, have you got a community? Like, anyone listening now, is there a community of friends that you've got, a community of business business people that you work with? How has it affected you? I mean, both myself and Aidan would love to know the effect that having a positive and strong community around you has had within your performance, your business, or your life in general. To share it with us, again, just email us, message us, comment, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But we would love to hear your stories about this.
Well, this is it. If you guys can send us your stories, we'd love to share them on the CSM platform. We'd love to literally take your stories and share them, whether that's just literally by doing a live stream and explaining your story, or screenshotting and sharing. We'd love... What we're trying to say is that community is fundamental. It's not just important, as we've said so far in this episode. It is fundamental. We are a community species. That is the way we are biologically and psychologically wired. We are supposed to have a tight-knit community. That is what we're there for. Over recent years, we have lost that. That's why we're a heavy contributing factor to what's being known as the loneliness epidemic. Everyone feels lonely, yet they've got thousands of Facebook friends. Everybody's feeling really drained and feeling really lonely and always feeling low. And there's obviously all the mental disorders and things that are coming from these, like depression and things, because they haven't got this community and these people around them. It is fundamental. If you cannot and do not have this community in place, that's where you need to be focusing. Don't bother learning new tricks and learning new magic. Learn people. Because learning people will unlock everything.
Exactly. And again, to throw it out there, another benefit, if I've not told you enough benefits already to this, but the fact is, what you mentioned there about, sometimes feeling down, like, everyone does feel down, and whether it's part of like this loneliness stuff that's going around at the moment, or just the fact that like it's an actual human thing, but having the community around there to support you through that times, it might stop you giving up on something you're so passionate about. I mean, how many performers out there have just like given up and think, oh no, I'm not good enough, I'll just jack it in? And I would argue, if they had a strong, tight-knit community, their community would have gone, no, that's all right, what can we do to help you? And it would stop them giving up on something they're so passionate about, and something which they're going to succeed at. If they just put in just that little extra time, they could have just bang and turned their careers on. It would have been like amazing for them.
Exactly that.
It's a support network, a real support network.
It will change everything. And what I particularly find enjoyable is that you don't just have to be in one little community. You can have multiple little social circles and multiple little groups, and that does a few things. Like, I remember going to Blackpool earlier this year when it was actually allowed, because there wasn't particularly a major pandemic. We actually was able to go to Blackpool, and every single day at Blackpool we was able to catch up with old friends, catch up with new friends, meet loads of new people, meet many of you listeners, I'm sure. We actually just got to be able to sit and chill and hang out with them, and we met so many cool people purely because of these relationships. We were sat talking to some people, and they introduced us to somebody else that we'd been wanting to meet for a long time. And it just works, especially like at Minds, the Minds convention hosted by the incredible Michael Murray over on mindeffects.co.uk. There's a shameless plug there for no reason, but for every reason, in fact, because we go to these conventions and everybody just knows everybody. And it's so good because you can just be yourself. You can be who you want to be because the entire group supports it, and they support your learning, and it's just foundational. So again, if you're struggling for another network, I know it's a little bit tougher in this whole pandemic situation with all these conventions being held online, but these can be golden opportunities to contact new people, to meet new people, and just go from there.
Exactly. That's what I said. Like, we established our friendship online with our little tight-knit group. We solidified it at Blackpool Magic Convention, and then we did go to Minds in Newcastle. And like you're saying, we do get introduced to new people, and this is not something, you don't need to listen to this podcast now and think, bloody hell, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Just to get a bit better at mentalism. You know the best part? Aidan's even shaking his head. This is not work at all. This is fun. It's talking to people, it's communicating with people, it's having a laugh, sharing jokes, a bit of banter, talking about the thing you love. Where's the work in that?
It's true.
This is all fun.
It really is.
Having a family, a close-knit family of friends, beautiful.
It's exactly that. It really, really is foundational. It's so important, and we get such a kick out of it all the time. And again, you might be of that sort of introverted approach, in where you get really nervous about talking to new people as is, let alone a group of new people. Although, from my personal experience, having a group of new people is actually much easier to overcome than one person, just because it's all the same thing at the same time, rather than 6 individual opportunities of meeting new people. You bundle it all in one. But yeah, it's so important. We can't stress it enough. If you don't have this community, contact us, and we will happily set you up with it, because it puts you on such a foundational, such a high path, just a direct path to becoming the person that you want to be, with the people that you want to be around. And remember that age-old phrase, we've all probably heard it. There's 2 that come to mind. Your network is your net worth. And you are the product of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. We've all heard similar phrases or words to that effect. These are essentially the importance of your network. So you need to make sure that these people around you that you are spending your time with are productive to becoming the person that you want to be. And whether that's through something like we said earlier about those checking in and recontracting your friendships and just saying, hey guys, I'm really looking to take my mentalism or my magic up a notch, and I really want to start doing more paid gigs. Do you guys want to do the same? Do you guys want to support that? Is there something that we could work together and go on a bigger mission, go and do something bigger? It's just so important. It really is. And I don't know how many more times we can say it.
But with that in mind, to finish this, we've hyped it up. But for the last real 5 minutes of this podcast, I just want to say, there have been occasions where I have left communities sometimes because it's not right for me. I've spent hours and I've enjoyed like spending the time with people and learning their stuff. But after a while, I've realised this isn't going the direction that I want to go in, and doing what you say, where you try and recontract those friendships. It's not worked. And I've just thought, these are great people. These are people who I'm always going to respect, always going to love for the rest of my life. But it's just not working. And with that in mind, I don't just completely ignore them. It's just like I stop putting time in every single day to maintain those connections, and I move on to the next community, because I'm always thinking the community around me is is what's helping me grow. Like you said, grow to the person you want to be. And if you're stuck in that rut, surrounded by people who are just kind of like, nah, and you're looking and you think, oh, this isn't helping me, then don't be scared to do what you've said, Aidan. Try and restructure it, and don't be scared to leave and hop ship to a new one. That's an important thing to bear in mind.
That's a really, really important point, and I'm incredibly glad that you actually brought that up. That's, so true. You don't have to force... Just because you set up that community once doesn't mean you're there for life. It means you're there for this period of time until the next step comes along. Treat them all with stepping stones, or as stepping stones. It's the one decision that you need to make to get to the next point. And if they want to come with you on that journey, then that is great, because you can just they already know everything. They know much more than a new community will about you and your background and what you've done. So if you can bring them with you, great. But if you can't, or for whatever reason they don't want to come for this journey, again, that's okay. It's okay to say no to these people and move on, just as you said. And it's actually something that we'll refer back to in episode 26 on how to learn magic. Like, we spoke about the idea of carving out your time to study and to learn and to read a book. But if you just don't like the book after you've read the first 20 pages, you're just not getting into it, put it down. Don't bother continuing to learn with it, because you're just wasting your time. Come back to it at a later point, or just find something else to read. So, and again, just doing it doesn't have to be like, yeah, you guys suck, I'm going to find other friends now. Don't do that, but just be honest with them and say, okay, I appreciate that you guys might not want to come on this journey in the way that I'm going, but I don't want that to affect anything at all. But I am going to try and spend a few more days or a few more conversations and spend a bit more time with some people that can help me get to that point. And just in your head, just make sure that you're spending the time with the people that you want to be around. And that's it. Again, I mentioned him a lot because he's a master at all of this stuff, but Keith Ferrazzi talks about the idea of a relationship action plan. So all of these communities he has on, like a spreadsheet, for example, of all of these people, and the quality of those relationships are maintained, and he's completely clear about who he needs to be talking to get to the next point, who he needs to just talk to periodically, and maybe even just every once in a while. And maybe your community jumps to that point, but it's okay to say no to these people and move on. It's what we're meant to do.
That's it. It's about finding the things you want to do, hammering and doing that, and finding people to support you, and not using people, because that's a different thing. Using people and having a community, two different things, I think. But it's finding people which are going to help you, and then if opportunities arrive, following it through and doing the things which are going to get you to your desired goal. So again, I hope you've been able to take a lot away from this. Do take us up on the offer. Like, you know, Aidan, this is something we're doing for free, isn't it? Like, this is not something we have to do. This is not something we're making money. We're not saying, oh, pay £1 and we'll introduce you. Like, message us. We'll introduce you to people, because the benefit that has is you get to grow your careers, because you're speaking to people who like the podcast, which means they're of the same way of thinking as you. So you're going to hit it off, and you're going to grow together at the same rate. It's a win-win, isn't it?
Exactly that. It's just, please do that, guys. Please drop us that message on Instagram. Send us your stories about how these communities have helped either your performing career or your business or your day-to-day work or your day-to-day lives. Send us these stories, because we really want to start sharing these and how important they are. But yeah, again, drop us those messages. Connect on the social medias and find other people. Use our platforms on your own terms. Like, be selfish in that respect. Try and find these people, and even just comment on the posts if you want. Just like, hey guys, listen to the episode, looking for friends. Do it like that. People that have listened to the episode will know where you're coming from, and they'll reach out, and you can reach out too. But yeah, it's fundamental. It's so important. And it's the reason we set up the school in the first place. Because we just value that community so much. But in the meantime, do that, connect, screenshots and shares, and we'll plug everything that we can. If you are interested in learning more from us and about us, do check out our lecture series. Again, it's a complete lecture opportunity designed purely around this understanding of community learning, because we all come together on the same Zoom call with the lecturer teaching everything. We've both done our own. Ashley did his hand stick lecture. I've done my witch hand lecture. And this month, you've probably already seen if you're connected on our platforms, Tahar Mansour, one of our best friends, is teaching his revolutionary approach to the multiple outs in a system that he calls multiple paths. Honestly, we've seen the lecture. You guys are going to want to get on that with all of your friends as well. But in the meantime, I don't really know what else to say at this point. Ashley, is there anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it, Aidan. So all I say is we will see you next week, where we're going to talk about how to practice. And I know that seems like a strange topic, but based on these deep dives you've had on last week, how to learn, and today, the importance of communities, you're going to love the interesting things we're going to talk about when it comes to how to practice. But until then, stay safe. We'll see you guys soon.